Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to Walker Air Transport and the Nascar 22 Tour. I'm keeping up with these as best I can in real time with the 2024 season. So in 2022, this flight is going to be the one for the race that took place on Sunday, September 11th of 2022. So we're flying from the Darlington area to Kansas Speedway here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm pushing my luck a little bit. I'm going to use a short 737, so this is the 737-700. We've got a 6,000 foot runway, is the longest runway we've got. I believe I'll be able to get off the ground. If not, we'll do what we can. But Kansas City is, the normal, regular location, so we've got like an 11,000 foot runway there. So haven't flown this in a bit and just want to go ahead and use this as the plane. But that's why we're sitting here on a GA ramp, because Florence really doesn't have anything but that. And, we're sitting here next to smaller little planes. So that is the situation. My intent is I'm flying with my full contingent. I've got FSLTL, which has given us the aircraft. Tend to use real weather, especially when I'm flying the 737 and things like that, because it's usually easier to deal with. And I've got self-loading cargo, as well as the other items set. So I'm just trying to get everything loaded up. Sorry for that. Alright, so I'm going to get the seat belts turned on. We're going to get the doors set here. And so we're going to get GSX. Well, let me actually get my flight pulled in. So we're going from Kilo Foxtrot Lima Oscar to Kilo Mike Charlie India. And it's about 800 miles, so you can see 874 nautical miles. So it's going to take a little bit of time here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the route. Getting close to needing an update of our AIRAC, but we're not there yet. So Kflo-Kmci. And we're going to go ahead, set payload, set fuel. And yes, we have some things in the center. So the most important thing we want to get going is we want to get our APU started here. So let me get going. We should be able to get with the ground crew soon. We're going to have 2 drink services and a food service. It's a long enough flight for that. So we should be all set. Alright, so I need to wait a little bit, because at this point, I think we've got like 7 minutes or so till the crew gets going, and then boarding and all of that will be coming up. Because we're on GSX, like we actually don't want the PMDG items, so I'm going to go ahead, we'll get this loaded. But I should be able to go to the ground services, release the stairs, and then release the loaders, and those will leave. Alright, so we're going to go back in here, we're going to activate, execute, and we're going to go ahead and get things started, because I can't actually start the APU until I have the ground crew, but I don't have the ground crew yet. So, and trying to call the crew internally isn't going to work, because We obviously don't have them available either, but we're going to be taking off on runway 9. Again, small enough airport, so there's not much else. No SIDS or stars. But into Kansas, we're going to be landing on 01 right. We're going to be using the Tiger 7 star. That is with the Sierra Golf Foxtrot transition. And then we're going to be coming in on Spicy, which is going to give us the longest approach. And we'll execute that. So the other thing that has happened since my last flight in this series, I was heading out of town and so forth. I picked up a Thrustmaster HOTAS Flight Stick X setup at basically an antique mall. Where someone was selling like rebuilt electronics. I don't know that this was actually rebuilt or not, but I've been using it for a bit now in other things, but this is the first time that this will make an appearance in this series. But I am no longer then flying with the Xbox controller. So obviously still getting a little bit used to things there. Let's continue to move forward here as we're waiting for all the services to catch up. But we'll probably be doing a good amount of waiting because of that, because normally we'd be doing some other things. But yeah, I cannot see. I'm just not sure. Let's see. There's the current flight information. So, yeah, because our expected departure is showing, I think, at 32 minutes. So we've got a little ways, and therefore, GSX is going to load the aircraft. Let's see if I go ahead and request boarding. So let's see, who are they suggesting I use? SkyWest.
Go ahead.
Hi, Captain. Microphone check, please.
All right.
Clear enough, 4 out of 5.
Okay, Captain. Radio check is complete. We'll contact you when we're ready to start loading.
Roger.
All right. So that will get us there. We're going to go to the N1 limit. Our takeoff, we're going to put flaps at 5, as always, and there we go. So the good news is our V speeds are pretty low. Sometimes they can be above 140. That would be more a challenge, but the lower the V speed we have, the better. So that is all a good thing. Let's see if I look out here. So SkyWest is getting ready. It looks like we're going to load in the back too. But the good news is then the doors are open. So when the crew is coming, we should be all set. This is not an airport I've done any changes to. Obviously I wouldn't work it enough. So where things are from and all of that is kind of its own thing. I swear I'm hearing a bus, but there it comes. So, the problem is we're going to have things a little bit slow. So let's see. I think we got the crew.
Good afternoon, Captain.
Hi.
All right. Kind of jumping around a bit here. All right. Just get,
Thanks.
No problem.
all right. Kind of messing up there. So
Cockpit
what I
to
want to
ground.
do is tell them I'm starting the APU.
All stations.
Go ahead.
It must have known that I started the APU. It's not letting me do that. So let me go here and then get that going. So we're going to lose some points there. But
We're
we'll
off the ground power, so
disconnect the
feel free to
GPU.
disconnect.
Roger. Stand by.
Alright, It's acting a little weird on some of the audio.
Ground power has been disconnected.
Roger.
Alright, and I do have the AI running again, so let's see. We need this.
Hello.
Hi, Captain. We've started boarding now, and the passengers are being seated.
Thanks a lot.
Alright, so we have the seatbelt check going.
Ground to cockpit.
We're going to be flying at 34,000.
Go ahead.
Make sure
Hi,
I
Captain.
start
Look at
my
me. To let you know, we
tracking.
started loading. We'll send the final load sheet up once we're ready.
Roger.
Alright, and we're still at like 25 minutes, so we've got quite some time before we're ready to get off here, but some of that is because of the size of the plane. There's a certain amount of time that it requires with self-loading cargo to be able to do things. Alright, so we're going to leave this at 10. Let me go back here to my loading. I think we're going to be set. So let's, yeah, let me check my cruise, because, yeah, it wants to go higher. Actually, I think I did 36,000. But let me fix that. Obviously, then I want to go ahead and fix that, or our cabin pressure will be incorrect. That'll cause us problems in the future. Okay, we're going to get the packs changed. Let me go ahead and welcome people on board.
Good afternoon from the cockpit. This is your captain speaking. I'd like to welcome you on board this afternoon as we fly to Kansas City. We're currently preparing for departure up here in the cockpit, and once we're airborne, we'll be climbing to our cruise level of 36,000 feet. We're not anticipating any delays, so we hope to be underway very shortly. Once we push back from the stand, the cabin crew will start securing the cabin. As we head to the departure runway, please make sure you're seated and secured as they make their way around the aircraft. The weather is not looking particularly brilliant, so it might be a little uncomfortable at times as we climb to our cruise level. There's nothing to worry about. Just make sure you keep an eye on the seatbelt sign, and I'll turn it off once we're in clearer air. Once we're airborne, there shouldn't be any issue during our climb. It's a pretty straightforward departure out of the airport, so nothing to worry about there. The wind forecast during our cruise looks very favorable, so we expect to arrive on time at our destination, but we will of course keep you up to date should there be any changes. If you could get yourself seated and secured in the meantime, we'll be able to make a departure as soon as everything is ready.
Alright, so now we've got a direct.
Please ensure to place your bags either in the overhead compartment or in the seat in front of you.
Alright, so we should be in pretty good shape. We just need to get finished loading. Alright, so let me see what do things look like. Let's get ATIS up.
Zero 9er, 01. Advise on initial contact you have information Oscar. Florence Airport information Oscar. 1804 Zulu. Wind 010 at 7. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 26. Dew point 22. Altimeter 3001. Landing and departing runway
3001.
01. Advise on initial contact you have information Oscar.
Okay, we'll get ourselves changed over to clearance. Alright, so we want to get our flaps set to 5. So we got that moved. We've got our auto brake set. I should, at this point, alright, because it's a loop around, The LNAV won't come on yet because of the way we're facing. So yeah, we're going to have to basically turn around. But our first leg is basically vectors to Spa, which I think is Spartanburg. That's 120 nautical miles away. So, and this is actually showing us 783 nautical miles, but the sim brief plan's a little bit different, so I think we might be bouncing around a little more. But we're getting close. 23 minutes. Alright, looks like aircraft loading just finished. I just looked over and it marked complete.
Go ahead.
Loading has been completed. We're sending the load sheet up to you now. We'll contact you once the aircraft is closed up, then we'll get to moving.
Roger. Hello.
Hi, Captain. Okay, we've received the load sheet from ground. There's the passenger count, the crew count, and the total souls count. Plus yourselves, of course.
Thanks.
Okay, looks like we're all set to go whenever you're ready.
Excellent. I'll instruct ground that we're ready to remove the stairs, and you can go ahead and close the doors.
No problem.
Alright, and again, we may be able to get going sooner, assuming, you know, everything gets done. They're obviously getting set here. I don't see any more passengers. So let's go ahead and call in for our clearance. Florence clearance. Walker 4021 requesting IFR to Kansas City. Let's see. It might tell me it doesn't know what it wants. But I have a flight plan, so let's see what it does. So it was a little sloppy.
Walker 4021, Florence clearance, cleared to Kansas City Airport. Radar vectors Spartanburg VOR, then is filed. Maintain 4,000. Expect flight level tree 60, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 118.6. Squawk 4 tree 21.
Runway 9, cleared to Kansas City. Radar vectors SPA then is filed. Maintain 4,000. Expect flight level 360, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 118.6. Squawk 4321. Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, read back correct. Contact Tower 125.1 when ready for pushback or engine start.
Contact Tower 125.1, Walker 4021. Alright, so just flipped over there. We're all set. Parking brake engaged. Everything's good. So we are now just waiting for door closure. So let's see. I don't know if they're waiting for me, because we should have the jetway gone.
Hi, Captain.
Oh, not yet.
Sorry, my mind's gone blank. I'll call you back.
No problem.
Alright, because at this point, I think we're set. So, I think what I need to do is... Actually, I think I need to go to GSX and then request pushback. Florence Tower, request push and start, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Florence Tower, pushback and engine start approved. Face west.
Face west, Walker 4021. Alright, so is it done boarding? No, I do not want to interrupt pushback. Okay. So it shouldn't be doing pushback unless we're able. But I don't know why the stairs haven't kind of gone back. Alright, door movement, so I think they're finally doing it. Yeah, it looks like we're set, so. Alright, they're leaving, they're leaving. So I assume we're going to have door closure soon. So, a little bit of GSX nonsense, but it's kind of how things go. You can hear the doors closing up. There we go.
Ground to cockpit.
So I'm going to want my tail to the left. Alright.
Go ahead.
Alright, so they're getting ready for pushback. But yeah, at this point, we're not having to wait any longer, which is good.
Ground tow is connected. Just heads up, your beacon light is not active. Tow is attached, steering fin is inserted. Stand by while we start pushdown.
Alright. So we've got that. We've got everything set for engine start. Should be good. So we're just waiting for the GSX message. I'm going to, however, need to get this cleared here. So we're going to remove that. That's going to move things up. There we go. So we're going to release the parking brake. There we go. Parking brake
The parking
released.
brake is off.
Just make sure. Yep. So there we go. We've got seatbelt.
Okay, Captain, we clear the stand, and you're free to start engine.
All stations, please arm doors.
Starting number 2.
Roger.
Starting engine 1.
Roger.
Alright, I just want to make sure I get those. So, we've got all our fuel pumps on. Everything's good. Let's see, are they going in the right direction here? Or it's very intriguing where they're taking us, but you know, again, it's a tiny airport. We're a little bit bigger plane. So, should be able now to flip that up. We're watching our gauges there. There we go. So that's a good sign. Just double checking one last time that everything is working. It is. Alright. So we're going to set our parking brake.
Please set your parking brake.
Parking
The brake is on.
Stand
set.
by. Please keep your parking brake on while we monitor engine start up and disconnect the tow.
Alright. And now we're going to do that. We're going to flip to that ground power. We obviously want to get the other one going. But we'll get that flipped. So again, that should get going soon. And then we will be off and going. Florence Tower, request taxi to runway Walker 4021. All right.
Walker 4021, runway 9er taxi via Bravo.
Runway 9er, taxi via Bravo, Walker 4021. Alright, so it should be pretty basic. But aside from the fact we're going to run over all these little planes, but that's okay. Alright, now will it give me the LNAV? It will not. Alright. So I've learned a little bit. Again, for those who have followed me, you know I'm not I am a non-aviation person. So I watched a video by A330 driver who I love, who basically explained these a little bit more, and basically
Quick start up on all engines until it's disconnected. Nose wheel is free, so you're good to go. We'll get ourselves disconnected now, so have a safe flight. Look out for the pin on the left, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks very much for your help. Pin on the left, and we'll see you again soon.
Alright, let me see where the cabin crew is at, because they still haven't told me they're secured.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board this Walker Air Transport flight. We please ask your attention as we demonstrate the safety features on this aircraft. Please make sure your bags are either in the overhead compartment or under the seat in front of you. It's important to fasten your seatbelt, even when the sign is off, in case we pass through unexpected
So they are probably going through
takeoff and landing. Please fasten your seatbelt
and getting everything secure. So at this point, we can turn off our parking brake.
In case of an emergency, there are doors in the front
and then you can see the throttle moving a little bit, because now with my HOTAS I've got a lot more control.
Your seatbelt is fastened and your seat is on its
And there we go. And all I have to do is turn my flight stick to yaw the rudder a bit, and so the control is way better. Alright, a little too fast with the 30, so we'll back off the throttle. But basically we need to go down this short little spot here, and runway 9 is right there, so I'm glad Beyond ATC is sticking with that. I am keeping an eye out on Say Intentions. I think I'm sharing that on my videos, because they do have a lot of features that Beyond ATC does not. It's probably well beyond my capabilities, honestly, but it's one of those things I can grow into it, and a lot of the VAs are talking about, you know, how much better it is and so forth. And they keep adding new features where Beyond ATC, definitely because of just their size and so forth, is a lot smaller. So going back to existing 2024, they'd be flying from Atlanta to Watkins Glen this weekend. So this is definitely a very different sequence. But again, the 2022 series is all we have available to us as a tour within Walker, and this is kind of what I'm doing, is the majority of things in that virtual airline to move things forward. But yeah, we're going 13 here, but you know, as you can see, it's a lot less jerky than it was with the Xbox controller. Landing in theory is that way as well, although it's still a bit of a challenge to try to figure things out. So again, we need the cabin secured and all that, so we're gonna have to wait until they're all set. Let's see. Alright, so I'm gonna turn that off, but I think there's just a period of time that they need to be able to do things. Whoops. Let me slow down here because I don't want to get off the runway. Again, a lot simpler than a bunch of different buttons that I had to play with, so I was able to avoid running off. But one thing I don't have is the taxi light, so let me get that set. Alright, now hopefully they're telling me the cabin's secure.
Hello.
Hi, Captain. Just to let you know that the cabin is secure for takeoff.
We're almost ready, so you can take your seats now.
No problem.
Alright.
All stations, please be seated for takeoff.
park. We're going to get ourselves set here. Get the taxi lights off. Get this last piece running on ground power. Turn that off. Get our pack set so that we don't have pressurization problems up above. Florence Tower, request departure, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Florence Tower, wind 010 at 7, fly heading 090, runway 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 9er, cleared for takeoff, Walker 4021. All right. So, release that brake, and we are going to go ahead. In theory. Again, it's challenged a little bit with moving. Just make sure. No, we're off. There we go. Starting to get a little bit of motion here. So, gonna be in good shape, I'm sure. But we're gonna need every inch of the runway, so I'm going to kind of taxi on toward the back here. And then we're gonna put on the parking brakes, and we're gonna put ourselves into toga and then release the brakes so this plane's gonna scream at us a little bit. So just getting you prepared. You're going to hear some alarms, you're going to hear whatever, but it's kind of the nature of what we're going to have. Alright, so can only turn so sharply, because after all, it is a pretty big plane. But get ourselves set, and there we go. Alright, so we are going to do that. And then we are going to spin the engines up some. And then, let's see, can I do that? Not yet. We're going to hit toga. And we are on our way. So there we go. So let's just make sure we're set. Again, we got to get to like 120. So we're already at 80, which is good because we're probably halfway down the
100
runway.
KTs.
All right, so V1 we can start. And there we go. So we did get off the ground. So that is a good thing.
Positive rate. Gear up.
Alright, we're going to get our gear up. We're going to get...
21. Contact Florence departure.
We're going to get everything set. Contact Florence departure 118.6, Walker 4021. Florence departure, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Florence departure. Good day. Radar contact. Climb and maintain flight level 180.
Climb and maintain flight level 180, Walker 4021. Alright. So, there's the airport.
Heading tree 05. Expect further clearance in about tree 6 miles.
So, and we are up and we are off. That is the most important thing. Turn left 305, Walker 4021. And that is the heading we should be taking according to Navigraph and all that. So you can see we're at 314, but we're going to turn back left and get ourselves theoretically on 304, but it might be about 305. So we'll see where it ends up. But it's going to be close enough that they're not going to care. So at this point, airport is next to us, but we can't see with the cloud cover already. There was a little bit of storminess potentially, so now we just need to pay attention when we hit 10,000. We're going to release the cabin crew. And they will be on their way. Alright. So I had things a little bit off, but hopefully all will be good. It's telling me 3 hours on the flight right now, but we're obviously not at speed. Let's get our flaps up. So that's going to be important to increase all of our speed as well. So you can see flaps moving up there. Get our auto brake set there. And we're just about, we got 0.8 in the center tank. So usually, especially on any of these flights domestically, the center tank ends up getting depleted as part of the climb. It's pretty standard. So going back to what I learned from A330 Driver, I, like a lot of people who don't understand aviation and the planes, thought that these green lights meant things were active. But they actually don't. They mean that I can press the button to change the state. So you will have noticed, for example, that LNAV went off at certain points and so forth. Alright, so they've gone ahead and turned things off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, and you are now free to move around the cabin.
So
However,
we're
be
all
aware
set
as we
there.
pass through unexpected turbulence.
Landing lights are
Located
off.
in the front.
Seeing a little bit more. We've got less cloud cover here because it was really just over there. So really the way you
Ladies
tell
and
things are
gentlemen,
active is
Captain has
here
turned
on
off
your
the seatbelt
display.
sign, so you are now free to move around the cabin. However, for your safety, we do recommend that you remain seated with your belt fastened at all times during the flight. Thank you.
So in about 10 minutes they're going to do the first drink service, and then food is about 50 or 45 minutes after that. So that's kind of how I usually have my flights set. Obviously we've got a much fuller flight than when we came in here with our Cessna, but that's something that sometimes we can do, and then as a charter service it makes us a little bit more money for our company, so it's always a good thing. Alright, let me make an announcement that we're climbing to cruise.
Good afternoon once again from the cockpit. I hope all is well with you and you're enjoyed flying with us so far. We're currently climbing up to our cruising altitude of 36000 feet, so I thought I'd give you a quick update. We're making good progress towards Kansas City and expect to arrive on time as planned. You'll next hear from me just before we start our descent. I'll be sure to keep you updated if anything changes, but in the meantime, please feel free to relax and take advantage of our onboard facilities. Thank you.
So there is a bit of a challenge with Beyond ATC and say intentions in my mind, and that I don't know that I have that much demand.
124.7, take care.
124.7, Walker 4021. Jacksonville Center, Walker 4021, 16,000.
Walker 4021, say altitude.
16,000, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, say altitude.
16,000, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Jacksonville Center, climb and maintain flight level 360.
It's always a bit of a challenge because you're always pretty close to when you need to change, and you don't really want to level out. Maintain flight level 360, Walker 4021. Alright, so now we're set to get
Walker
to the cruise.
4021, cleared direct Spartanburg VOR. Resume own navigation.
Cleared Spartanburg, Walker 4021. Okay. You know, and we've got a good ways to go. You can see we've still got 90 nautical miles to get there, but, you know, we're moving it at 387 on the ground speed, just adjusting to the transition level. We've gone through transition altitudes, so we want to change to standard pressure on our barometer. So we're all set there, but that's why we were getting the yellow. But yeah, so, you know, their point was, like, when you have this on, like, you shouldn't look at that and say, oh, the autopilot's engaged. Like, the way you know the autopilot's engaged is things look as they should on the boards there, and I never knew that. Because they talked about, for example, like when you first take off, I think you're unable to, like, LNAV goes off for a second or something, and it's not that it stopped working, it's just you're unable to disengage at that point. So, alright, so we're getting the warning here because of center tanks, so let's go turn those pumps off. Now we're all set. But yeah, this is leg, I think, 29 out of 37. So we are getting down to the tail end. As I've said for a while, basically this series is going to take us up to the U.S. election time frame is when we're going to be making our last flight, right around there. So we've still got several months ahead of us, which is good, but the flights are longer now. So now we are under 2 hours, but, you know, it's going to take a bit. So I'm going to go ahead, step away. Usually most folks seem to want to see kind of the preparation, the takeoff, and go from there, and you get a little bit of that feeling with self-loading cargo and so forth that things are going on. But beyond that, now that we're at cruise, all we're going to be doing is passing ourselves off from one air traffic to another. Yeah, we're going to have, you know, some traffic going on because of FSLTL and things like that, but they're not on ATC. So that's, again, I guess before I step away, part of the issue with the say intentions thing. Like right now, they like already have traffic incorporated to some degree. I don't know that they control their traffic, but at a minimum, they're on. There's chatter on ATC about it, so for folks who like all of that and are used to that, it's certainly a lot more realistic than beyond ATC, where for me, I enjoy the quiet a little bit because I feel I'm not overwhelmed, but I do know it's not realistic. So as I want to get better and better with my capabilities, I'd like to move on, but I'm kind of sticking to my position of wait until 2024 comes out and I get some experience with that to see how things really work. In theory, all the add-ons should function, but it would be pretty terrible. You know, you pay for a year of something and then you can't use it in the new version, for example. So I don't really anticipate that being the situation, but I also would like the cost to come down quite a bit from where it's at, because it's still $200 for the year, and that's a little rich for air traffic control for me. So people each have to make their own assessments, but once again, because my needs are not as high, that just makes it a little bit more challenging. But I'm going to get myself up to 36,000 feet, cruise along. We've currently got 726 nautical miles to go, and I'll be back as we get a little bit closer. So I'll see you in a bit.
Cold beverages. As the crew make their way around the cabin,
Hey, I'm back
any
for a little
items
bit.
from the aisle, and make sure your tray table is in the down position. Thank you.
So I'm taking a look, 2027, so that would be 35 minutes from now. We're going to be descending. I think the furthest out I can go is 30 minutes. but I'm not entirely sure. So we'll see if I take a look. If I go to the intercom, because we will slow down a little bit.
Hello, Captain.
Alright, I'm gonna...
Just to let you know that there's around half an hour to go before we start descending.
Thank you.
Alright, and now let's see.
Good afternoon once again from the cockpit. I hope you're enjoying the flight so far. We'll be starting our descent in approximately 30 minutes, so still plenty of time to enjoy the rest of the flight. The arrival weather forecast is looking good,
so
it should be a nice, easy approach to the airport. We're not expecting any delays, so we should be able to land fairly quickly. Once we do start our descent, please make sure to listen carefully to any instructions from our cabin crew and pay special attention to the seatbelt sign. Thanks for flying with us, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Alright, so I've gone ahead and started the additional drink service that would have been later, because that seems to be a problem otherwise if we don't do that on time. But basically, in about 35 minutes or so, should start descending, you know, and then obviously then we'll be closer to getting there and landing. So just wanted you to be able to hear those announcements and see where we're at this point. But we are now right into, and we're actually passing through the little piece of Missouri that hangs down into Arkansas and next to Tennessee. So we're crossing over that right now, and then we'll be in Arkansas, and then we'll turn up toward Missouri as we head up toward Kansas City. So I will be back in a little bit. Back here now, descending. So we've gone from 36,000, we're already down to 28. We've got a little ways to go, obviously. So I've given the notification. We were off enough that we didn't get appropriate points in self-loading cargo, which again is just interesting. It's not critical. But we've got 26.2 miles to Tiger. We're actually on the Tiger 7 approach at this point, or the arrival. And then again, we're heading over, so we got Tiger and then Trike, and then we're going to vector over to Spicy. So I do need to get that fixed here. Hopefully that will all work out as it should. And so, yeah, barbecue is going to be 5,000, so it's an approach, I guess. Kansas City likes to use their Kansas City barbecue, so spicy and then turkey and barbecue and all that, so that's where we're headed. But weather's pretty good, as you can see. You can see a good long way, and basically the airport is in that direction. If I'm looking at my chart and so forth, we have finished all services. I'm at the point for, that normally once I take off and start climbing, right now I turn beyond ATC on auto response, so it's been doing its thing. We've already gotten clearance to descend via Tiger 7, and so all of that has happened. Again, a difference between something like, say, Intentions that kind of gives a fuller air traffic experience, but like I said, time and cost is part of the delay at this point. If it starts getting down within $100 for the year, that's kind of really my spot for realistically considering it, but I think we're months, if not a year or more away from that even being possible. So in the meantime, we'll keep working with Beyond ATC and, getting what it does provide. And while it's not perfect, it's certainly better than the alternative that we've had. So 10 miles, so we might be at 20,000, like it's telling us. We should be around 18 at that point, which would actually be good. So I'm hoping we can get down. So the problem I've had lately with the HOTAS and landing is the same problem I've kind of always had with the 737, is these approaches tend to come in high. Why they come in high, I don't know. So maybe it's a design in the PMDG or something, but they seem to always, you know, not really get us in easily into the slope that we really would like. Let me, I think I realized there may be a problem that I have here too, in that, yes, I have not set this yet. So that will help, and then that will get us to the end. Now I said 40 minutes. I don't think it was at 2019, so I'm probably gonna, we might land early, but because yeah, that would really be like 30 minutes. I don't know.
Walker 4021, contact Kansas City Center 125.55. Have a good day.
But there we go. So now we're turning from Tiger
Contact
to
Kansas
Trike.
City Center 125.55.
And we'll
Walker
see.
4021. Have a good day.
Trike looks like it's about 12 miles away. There you go. And so again, we were
Kansas
to be
City
at 18.
Center, Walker 4021. Good day. Descending via Tiger 7. Flight level 192.
You know, and that's the thing. We're at, you know, it's estimating 13,000, but that's not where we end up.
Walker 4021, descend and maintain 8,000.
All right. So we'll adjust that.
Descend and maintain 8,000. Walker 4021.
So we are basically now pointing at the airport. So we're going to come in, but then we're going to turn a little bit more sharply as we go over Kansas City once we leave Trike. And then we're going
Walker
to
4021,
head in.
contact Kansas City approach 124.7.
Contact Kansas City approach. Walker 4021.
All right, let's see. What's the 3031?
Kansas City.
So
Walker
I think that's going
4021.
to actually
Good day.
raise
17,900 with information Tango.
and should cause us to descend a little faster to begin with to catch up.
Kansas City approach. Good day. Altimeter 3031. Expect a visual approach runway 9er.
Altimeter 3031. Expect the visual approach runway 9er. Walker 4021.
All right. So part of the reason right now that I do this is because flying is challenging enough.
4021, leave Trike heading 315. Expect radar vectors for visual approach runway 9er.
All right, and you can see we're probably going to head much more
Lead Trike
sharply
heading
than 315.
Expect radar vectors for visual approach runway 9er. Walker 4021.
But they're also probably trying to get us into, say, Turkey or whatever, and that's closer to the airport than I'd like to be. I'm giving myself as long of an approach as I can. All right, so we're below 16,000.
Walker 4021.
But we're still more than 2,000 above, so that's the issue. Like, we're going to hit this at like 7,000 instead of 5.
310. Walker 4021.
And so what I am going to likely do right now
and maintain 6,000.
is I am going to do
Descend and maintain
this
6,000. Walker 4021.
and do like 2,600. All right, and we can descend and maintain 6,000, but I'm going to try to get ahead is what I'm basically doing here. And if I can slow this down, that would be nice as well. So we'll see. We might not be able to descend at the pace we are and have that work. All right, we're going to put the brakes on. Maybe we'll do just a little bit, because again, we've got a decent runway. And we'll put the spoilers up and try to slow down a little bit. because that will also then give us a little bit better approach for the airport. So that, you know, that's a bit of the spoilers being up there. I don't know, can they go up more? No, that's kind of the full amount. But, you know, the thing is, it's spicy, which is 20 miles away, but, you know, I need to be close to 5,000. The trick is I really should be, I gotta be below 250 to not get a problem. You know, but that's where the point is. Like, I really need to be descending at this pace. So we'll see. I don't know if the plane will slow down. I don't think it will as we get closer. So I'm gonna go to turn on the landing lights here because we need those below 10,000. Alright, and then we'll get this down, and then we'll then start applying speed again once we get to 250. So there we go. And now we're gonna go back to that space, and hopefully it can I'll put it back at 2,500, but hopefully it can stay below 250 and that it can maintain that pace. Because, you know, now we're getting down to about 10 and we still need to go down almost 5,000 feet. So it's certainly not nothing. But this seems to always be the challenge that I have. Like, it hasn't given me a lower clearance in theory, so I really shouldn't touch it. So we'll wait for a little bit, but we'll see. You know, but the airport now is really kind of in this direction somewhere. But yeah, if I get to 7,000 and it hasn't really changed, I may...
Walker 4021, turn right, heading tree 20.
You know, and you can see we're at 292. Like,
Turn right,
it's,
heading 320.
you know, really
Walker
wanting to
4021.
get us in on one of those, but I'm not really that worried about it. But this is where sometimes we end up breaking things a bit. So I'm going to set this to 5, though, because that is where I want to level off for Barbo. So, you know, maybe we'll do 5,100, and that way, because there's nothing for spicy. But if I get to, like, say 5,500, then we'll put VNAV back on, and we should be, I think, in pretty good shape then. But yeah, we're getting kind of close here on speed as well, because of the speed we're descending. But you can see, like, we're barely going to get to 5,200, which is really what we wanted at that point. And see, now it is acquiring the altitude. But now I should be able to go down, and then it'll cap me at 5,000. So we're going to go ahead and start extending flaps. So we're going to go to 5%. Because after spicy, we should be getting a little bit slower. So flaps moving up finally. But now we are turning onto our approach, and then we're going to see the airport. So let me get my landing monitor up. You know, we're 4,000 feet above ground level. That, I believe, is the airport there. And again, we're heading in. So we're going to get the approach set. Again, the glide path is above. It's not been great at capturing lately, so I'm hoping we're going to have a better result. Alright, that isn't the airport. So the airport
Walker
is somewhere
4021,
else.
turn left, heading tree 40.
Turn left, heading 340. Walker 4021.
Alright, well it is still giving me directions, but just not appropriately. Alright, so it should hopefully engage. There we go. Alright. That is crucial, because the glide path has really been a big part of my challenge. So again, now we're going to go down to 10%, because we are slow. So we're going to go to 15. We're going to lower our gear, even though we're a ways out. But it can start to stabilize, you know, but it hasn't locked into the LNAV side yet. Alright, so we're gonna take seats for landing.
Cabin crew, please take seats for landing.
Alright, so I think we'll be good. They should have secured everything. Again, flaps down again, but yeah, there's the airport. Just kind of get ourselves aligned a little bit here. And then again, I'm going to try to set my throttle to the point that I need it. But yeah, I do not understand why we're not locking in on the ILS side. Because, I mean, we have the ILS information and all that, but at this point, we should absolutely have captured that. See, but like right now, approach is off, but that's, that was a weird movement of the plane, I'll tell you that. So, all right.
Walker 4021, turn left, heading 300.
Why would it want
Turn
me?
left, heading 300.
It must have me.
Walker
It must have
4021.
had me land somewhere totally different, because that is very odd. That's all I can really say. All right. I'm gonna go out to flaps 30. That's our final landing configuration. And if I recall, why is drag required? We already have drag. So I'm actually going to put these back up here, because I think that's actually worse. But yeah, I think it's just because it's not letting it go down to 136, but like it should easily get down to that. Because that is, I think, what we want. So let me look at my preference. Yeah, so we should be at 5 miles over is kind of what it is. So it's 131, and there we go. We're down to 140. Getting down to 1,000 feet. We're about a little under 5 miles away. So we're in pretty good shape. But the point is, like, the approach button is off, and that doesn't mean, oh, the approach isn't working. It is, other than it hasn't locked in on the RNAV side. So I think we're getting the glide slope error because we're, again, at this crazy percentage. But this is now when I want to go ahead and disengage. And we're going to get that, and we're going to get our... So now I'm flying in here. And that my throttle is at the appropriate level. So we're going to try this, and we'll see how we do. Now I have a little bit more flexibility in Walker, as far as, yeah, see, I'm going down too low here. We're going to bring this down. So we're 300, 200. Alright, that's just the inner marker warning. So now we're going to want to Gonna bring ourselves in. Alright, and now I'm throttling off entirely, and we're just gonna float in here.
20, 10.
Alright, and now we hit the brakes, use the yaw. So a beautiful landing, honestly, at that level, and that might be kind of sharp, but that's alright. So we're off here, but yeah, I'm thinking it must have had us at another
Ladies and
runway.
gentlemen, we have reached our destination. Please remain seated with your seatbelt.
So we'll just head to the terminal because we're not going to really get much of anything else. We'll get our flaps up.
As items might head fall during the flight, our staff will help you complete your walker journey. And if you need any help, please don't hesitate to ask. In behalf of
Alright,
our
we
crew
want to be
and
a
all the
little
team, we thank you
higher,
so much for
move the
choosing
throttle
flying
up a
Walker
bit.
Air Transport. We hope to see you again soon and wish you a pleasant stay. Thank you.
Alright, so we're at 8. Welcome to Kansas City. But yeah, we probably landed a little more than 129. It tends to be the case. So let's see. What's it telling me? Yeah, 181 it looks like, but that's still quite good. But yeah, so this is sometimes where Beyond ATC does tend to fall apart like that. And that's a little bit of the issue where I guess the other piece does not do so poorly. Say intentions, but like I said, for the price, just for air traffic, it seems like a lot. And you know, they only have a 24-hour test, so I've been leery of any kind of testing because of what they're doing. But they have introduced this new co-pilot feature recently, which basically is kind of the mimicking of the auto response. Alright, so we'll get that in there.
Please disarm doors and cross-check.
Alright, so we'll get this
Ladies and
turned
gentlemen,
off.
Please remain seated until the captain turns
I
on
got
the
a
seatbelt
too
sign.
smooth
Once
in
that happens, we will start deboarding and you'll be able to leave the aircraft. Thank you.
in the whatchamacallit. I got too smooth in self-loading cargo for my landing. So we ended up with what? 7,000 gallons of fuel, or 7,000 pounds. I forget if that's pounds or gallons. Alright, so I don't quite have the flaps all the way up. We got one more setting. Get this turned down. Can put our spoilers away, because again, that is a lot of what helps us slow down. Just I don't always remember to engage them. But then basically if we touch down and touch down kind of hard enough, then we're in good shape. So we should be, oh, we're still not at the point that the APU is ready. There we go. So we'll get to the APU, and then that will let us turn the engines off. Turn off the beacon light.
Round to cockpit.
Alright, so let's just chat with
Go ahead.
those guys.
Hi, Captain. Microphone chip, please.
You're loud and clear, 5 over 5.
Roger. Hi, Captain. Would you mind turning off the taxi lights? They're a little bright for us down here.
Whoop. They are off. The landing lights.
Roger!
Alright, I didn't have the taxi on.
Next time I'll need to remember my sunglasses.
Oh, funny man.
Okay, Captain. Ground power is available. Stand by. We'll start getting you offloaded in a couple of minutes.
Roger!
Alright, so...
Cabin crew, the aircraft is secure, the jetway is connecting. Start deboarding once ready.
So, we'll get this going. So we want to request deboarding. And that should start getting us connected up here. So the smoke is the GPU, or the APU I should say. And again, normally we'd request ground power at this point and go from there. But not quite doing that yet. And so we've got a little ways to go, as always, to end the flights when we're using self-loading cargo, because we have to get enough passengers off. So we'll go ahead and we'll request ground power, and then that'll appear. There, a little bit of goofiness, but so if I head
Ladies
back
and
in
gentlemen,
there,
make sure you don't forget any items on this plane.
and then yeah,
If
we
you need any
just
help, our staff will be punctual to give you any assistance. We wish you a pleasant.
so I think I can't give them the thanks for flying with us yet until later. There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed your flight this afternoon, and I'd like to wish you a safe onward journey. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for flying with Walker Air.
Alright. So, get everything turned off. We can use ground power. So I can turn off the APU. Get all these flipped off so we don't have any fuel problems. And now you can see we're starting to get passengers deboarded. And so basically, yeah, we need to unload the passengers and theoretically unload the baggage and all that, but don't necessarily need to wait for that. Not really worried about what the score is going to be. I know this has gone on for a bit, given that this is a longer flight. I think we've got one shorter flight, and everything that remains, everything else is well over 500 miles. And some are a good long way over that, but goal will be to keep up with things and get that going. But I'm just happy I was able to get our passengers here to Kansas City and do so safely, and you know, use my HOTAS appropriately, and hopefully you could tell the smoothness and how it was a lot easier to control, and I'll just get better and better with it, I'm quite sure, over time. But at least now I have kind of an official aircraft control, even though, you know, it's not a yoke or whatever, but still is much better than just using a thumbstick on an Xbox controller. But that gets this leg done. We will be back for our next leg next week. If you've enjoyed this and or are not a subscriber, please consider those things for the channel, and I will see you next time.